screwing you up. Here we go. Well, we have multiple guests today. Oh my goodness, I've got to get my act together here for you guys. In the studio, Justin Gardner. He's the founder of Active Skin Repair. I'm looking forward to speaking to him about his products. They have been extremely important in our house. Oh, there he is. We cut right to him. Sorry about that. I didn't warn you, Justin. And first up, we're going to have Alex Villanueva. He was the sheriff in Los Angeles County. He's a doctorate of public administration. His book is Sheriff Holding the Blue Line in a Deep Blue State. He is interested in ending public corruption and media collusion. You can follow him on X, Alex Villa, 1L, Nueva 33. And then Dr. Stella Immanuel. She's a Cameroonian-American physician in Houston. She was trained in Nigeria, and she's been advocating for COVID-19 treatments of various types. And she founded Firepower Ministries, and we're going to follow her, Stella_Immanuel, after we first talked to former Sheriff Alex Villanueva.
Our laws, as it pertains to substances, are draconian and bizarre. The psychopaths start this way. He was an alcoholic because of social media and pornography, PTSD, love addiction, fentanyl and heroin. Ridiculous. I'm a doctor, for sake. Where the hell do you think I learned that? I'm just saying, you go to treatment before you kill people. I am a clinician. I observe things about these chemicals. Let's just deal with what's real. We used to get these calls on Loveline all the time. Educate adolescents and to prevent and to treat. If you have trouble you can't stop and you want to help stop it, I can help. I got a lot to say. I got a lot more to say.
I'm excited to bring you a new product, a new supplement, Fatty. I take it. I make Susan take it. My whole family takes it. This comes out of, believe it or not, dolphin research. The Navy maintains a fleet of dolphins, and a brilliant veterinarian recognized that these dolphins sometimes developed a syndrome identical to our Alzheimer's disease. Those dolphins were deficient in a particular fatty acid. She replaced the fatty acid, and they didn't get the Alzheimer's. Humans have the same issue. And we are more deficient in this particular fatty acid than ever before. And a simple replacement of this fatty acid called C15 will help us prevent these syndromes. It's published in a recent journal called Metabolites. It's a new nutritional C15, pentadecanoic acid it's called. The deficiency that we are developing for C15 creates something called the cellular fragility syndrome. This is the first nutritional deficiency syndrome to be discovered in 75 years and may be affecting us in many ways, and as many as 1 in 3 of us. This is an important breakthrough. Take advantage of it. Go to fatty15.com/Dr. Drew to receive 15% off a 90-day starter kit subscription, or use code Dr. Drew at checkout for that 15% off, or just go to our website, drdrew.com/fatty15. First up, Alex Villanueva. I said you can follow him on X, Alex Villanueva 33 on X. And the book is Sheriff Holding the Thin Blue Line in a Deep Blue State. I've had the great good pleasure of meeting Alex in person and interviewing a few times on the radio. Alex, welcome. There's the book.
Thank you, Dr. Drew. How are you doing?
Good. It's been a minute, right? And
yes, it has.
I feel like the world has like we've gone through some turning, like the world has turned since I last saw you. I think it was pre-COVID or well pre-COVID when we were talking. And now we went through that, and now Los Angeles is erupting with things that are hard to get our heads around. How do you make sense of things?
Well, I think a lot of chickens have come home to roost at the same time. You decades of politicians in California, in LA County, LA City. Everyone wants to be the sanctuary city, sanctuary policies. We're going to defend the immigrant population. So they created a false illusion among the population here in California that federal immigration law no longer applies. But they forgot that Obama was the chief deporter for a reason. He got that title. They were doing deportations. They were enforcing federal immigration law. So fast forward along comes Trump after hiatus with the Biden open border administration. All of a sudden, oh my God, how dare he? Doesn't he know we're a sanctuary? So that creates a conflict. It's artificially created. And really, it's just sad to see how, politicians have basically fomented this division that now we're seeing on the streets playing out in real time.
I feel like, what was it like being sheriff? I don't know if you can actually talk about it freely. I feel like you navigated it skillfully, but I also always had the sense you had to hold your tongue, hold your everything, you had to hold everything back. But you never seemed, I would have been much more frustrated than you, let's put it that way. So what was that experience like for you?
Well, I got the best description of it possible. Being the sheriff of LA County during my time was like riding a bicycle, except the bicycle's on fire, you're on fire, and the fire's on fire. That was being sheriff.
Oh, God. Except for that, yeah, you did not show it. You were as cool as a cucumber, And now we have a city council. One of the members of the city council said, we had this rash of catalytic converters being stolen here in LA, right? And she goes, well, the problem is Toyota. They make it too easy to steal. Never mind the fact that to get a catalytic converter, you have to jack the car up, you have to have a Sawzall or a welding torch, and you have to it's welded into the chassis, and you have to pull it out. It takes a while, half hour at least. Toyota needs to do a better job than that. Well, what has happened to our city council?
Well, it's kind of laughable, but if you look at, there's video capturing, doorbell, the Ring camera of these catalytic converter thefts. And they're as skillful as a Formula One pit stop. They can do this in under 30 seconds now. That's how sad it is. But that same, under 30 seconds. But that same mentality allowed Governor Newsom to put out a lawsuit against the Trump administration, claiming that the presence of the National Guard and the Marines actually increases tension instead of decrease it. It's the same mentality of, hey, let's blame Toyota for the catalytic thefts.
Yeah. So if I were to follow that logic, I should never have law enforcement when there's unrest, because it's always, if unrest breaks out, it's always the fault of law enforcement, or I should never have law enforcement around. All I know is I worked in a psychiatric hospital for 30 years. And the only thing that contained people acting out for any reason, you didn't have to be violent, but you had to have a show of force. You had to have a real show of force. And people feel better. The patients themselves felt better when they feel the containment. They just settle down. Am I on to anything there?
You're right on the money. And we have a very good example of how to do it and how not to do it. 2020, during the Summer of Love in LA, I was in charge. I was a mutual aid coordinator for LA and Orange County. This is the State Office of Emergency Management System, OES. And when the riots broke, I had 11 riots going on at the same time, different locations. Mm-hmm. We knew right away we got a lot more problems than we have troops to handle the problem, because we want to do exactly what you said, be able to contain it and put hands on and put the people away that needed to go away, the rioters. So I called up the National Guard, went through the Cal OES, got the National Guard rolling. We immediately, swiftly, and decisively, every single instant there was looting going on, rioting, vandalism. We arrested people, we dispersed people, we issued unlawful assemblies, and we followed it up by dispersing the crowd and arresting the people that were dumb enough to stick around. That's how it worked, and it was successful. So we did not become Seattle or Portland. But fast forward to 2025, and the current crowd seemed to have forgotten that lesson, and they reverted to 1992. Hey, let's just sit back and wait and see what happens. That never works. If you're going to issue an unlawful assembly, follow it up with an arrest.
Yeah. Do you think it's a bridge too far? It seems like a Rubicon of sorts to bring Marines in.
Well, the issue becomes command and control and what they're doing. I mean, the National Guard, bringing them in, both the Sheriff's Department and LAPD are tragically understaffed right now, to the degree of 4,000 between the two. 4,000, which means they don't have the personnel to amass mobile field force to send off to the riots and then leave their home stations pretty much empty of cops. They don't have that anymore. We had that in 2020. So bringing in the National Guard basically frees up the trained law enforcement to hit the streets and do all the crowd control, and the National Guard can protect all the federal assets, which they did. They should have done it even sooner. I mean, this should have been done thinking ahead at the start of Friday. It only takes them about 4 hours to get up and running, the National Guard. And how was it until Sunday when they showed up?
Isn't the Marines a different thing, though?
Marines can do the same thing the National Guard can do, but it comes with an element of legal concern, obviously, and then the issue of command and control. Our experience with Marines in 1992, God bless them, their heart's in the right place, charge the hill, they're going to do it. But it takes a little bit more nuanced approach when it comes to civil crowd and control.
I heard the police chief today he was reading, it looked like it was not written by him. I don't know if you saw at a press conference. Yeah, so he was reading an official document about this sort of command and control issue. I expected him to start blinking SOS because he looked like a very different guy than had taken the mic the day before. So am I reading that correctly?
You're reading it very correctly. He slipped a few days earlier when he said they were overwhelmed. He went against the official narrative of City Hall, and I'm surprised they didn't call him out for it. So now he had to read from a script versus speaking from the heart. And no, you got it right on the money.
Yeah, you really look like a prisoner of war of sorts there. You could read it on him. All right, I've got a lot of guests today. I feel there's one other question I have is this, people speculate that this is all organized, certainly it's funded from somewhere. Do you have any speculation about that?
Yes, we do believe it is organized, it is funded, and we do know, heck, Gavin Newsom's only campaign for governor. You look at the George Soros Foundation, you look at Open Society, look at all the big mega donors, those billionaires from the Bay Area, they bankroll his thing, and they have so many shadowy 501c3s.
Or are there foreign agencies involved in this too, taking advantage of the circumstances, you think?
When you have 501c4s, you have a lot of dark money that we don't know where it's coming from. So the potential is very, very likely that there's a lot of foreign influence on this union organizing, which now has this response or rapid response network, that shadowy network that is jamming ICE agents in the field very quickly and very effectively. So yeah, that should be worthy of a very good investigation.
Sheriff, thank you for joining me. Good to see you again. You're looking well, and I hope that you continue to do so.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Drew.
All right, man. Next, Dr. Stella Immanuel. She is, as I said, Cameroonian American physician, trained in Nigeria. She's been was part of the Great Barrington Declaration, if I recall. Dr. Immanuel, welcome to the program.
Hi, Dr. Drew. I'm really thankful to be here today. It was great to talk to you.
You were part of the heat.
Yes, I think I was part of the Declaration.
I wanted to meet you. Yeah.
I know, right?
And congratulations that the author is now the head of the NIH, which is extraordinary. But you took a lot of heat for that, as I recall.
Yes, I took a lot of heat for everything that I've been trying to do. But it's okay because when you're taking care of patients, Dr. Drew, and you see that what you're doing is working and you're being attacked for it, at some point, you have to stand up. At some point, we had to stand up because we could not, I could not just sit around and just let stuff go, you know?
Yeah, I get it. Listen, most of our peers sent people home and told them to come back when they're blue.
Mm-hmm. And that is crazy. That's not even medicine. You went to the ER and they tell you go and wait and come back on when you're about dead, and then they gave you remdesivir, and then they threw you. You know, most people saw their family members for the last time when they walked in through the emergency room and never saw them again. So this is me, 2020. I have a practice in Houston. Found out hydroxychloroquine works. There's actually a study under Anthony Fauci that, chloroquine was a potent inhibitor of SARS-CoV-1. So I saw that study. I trained in Nigeria, know about malaria and stuff like that. So I was happy to just jump in and take care of people. And then I got attacked. Everybody was like, no, it doesn't work. And everybody was coming against me. By the time we got to the steps of the Supreme Court on that fateful day in July, I was done. I was at the stage where I was like, man, if I perish, I perish. Whatever they want to do, they could do. I can't just sit around and let people die. And I'm talking about, we have right now, my team, we saw over 100 and something thousand patients, kept the American people out of the hospital. I've been and right till today, I tell everybody, get hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin in your medicine cabinet. It will save you, it will save somebody. And I've just been screaming from the rooftop, and I'm still screaming from the rooftop because it's not over.
Well, thankfully, the Omicron era has been a much milder illness and doesn't, for otherwise healthy adults, doesn't really require anything. But that was a very, very weird period of our profession, was it not?
Yes, it was. And I think one of the biggest thing in America is that many doctors are, medicine is so hyper specialized that most doctors do not know anything about anything. So when the media said hydroxychloroquine can kill you, I mean, most doctors only know that a little bit. Like, ENT doctors only know ENT. They don't know anything else about general medicine.
Yeah.
So when they say that,
That's right.
hydroxychloroquine can kill you, everybody believes that hydroxychloroquine can kill you. Even though it's a medicine, or ivermectin is a horse dewormer, doctors believe that. You know what I'm saying? And that's so crazy. And the reason is because we don't practice general medicine like they do in other countries in America,
Well, and you and I do, and I'd used hydroxychloroquine for years on my lupus patients, and I've always brought up the fact that I was doing my American Board of Internal Medicine reviews, and in the review that year when this was all going down, they in the rheumatology section, they were talking about hydroxychloroquine for lupus, and the board question, these board questions you go through, should you continue a patient on hydroxychloroquine who is 3 months pregnant? And the answer was yes. All the way through the pregnancy, you should maintain. That's the only medication I can think of that is recommended to be maintained during pregnancy without restriction. I couldn't believe it. I thought, wow, I always knew it was inert. And of course, it's over the counter in many places in Africa because it's used for malaria.
Yes. COVID did not really seep into West Africa or do such damage there because they are malaria endemic. And because COVID symptoms are kind of like malaria symptoms, when people had COVID symptoms, they just went and took malaria medicine and they got treated. In fact, when they left China and they were going to Nigeria, left China, they were going to Nigeria, they had to take anti-malarials. So it helped with COVID. So that is one of the reasons why COVID did not really it did not do such damage in Sub-Saharan Africa because malaria is endemic, So people should have known that.
So that's interesting.
Yes. And now they have go ahead.
Keep going, please.
They have a new COVID strain now for this summer. It's NB.1.8.1. Sounds like an IP address, but that's the new COVID strain. But it's still from the Omicron family, so it's not as dangerous. Yeah. But I still tell people because COVID long symptoms, people still get residual symptoms from COVID. I still tell people it is important that everybody get on vitamin C, D, zinc, and quercetin. Cannot just stop yourself from getting it instead of getting it and ending up with some brain fog or something.
Yeah. So I've seen a lot of COVID lately. I've had COVID again. And it's essentially two versions are flying around. One is this extreme rhinorrhea, extreme runny nose. And that one I had, and I had some post-COVID after it. I thought I had a cold. It was just nothing, but it was marked rhinorrhea. And I thought I was actually having an allergic reaction or something because it was so, I didn't feel bad. And then I've had long COVID 3 times. And so I had that familiar long COVID feeling for about a week afterwards. I thought, and then my whole family got sick. So I infected everybody. So there you go. But I've also I'm convinced I'm seeing NB181 out here because it's been documented out here and it is pretty nasty. I'm not going to kid you. If an 85-year-old got it, it would be pretty bad. And I've used Paxlovid for it and there was rebound every time. Use the Paxlovid with caution.
I think we should get back to using hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin. But here, I never got COVID. I never got sick because from early in the disease, I was taking COVID Vites that has vitamin C, D, zinc, and quercetin, and I was taking hydroxychloroquine Sunday medicine weekly. So I've never had COVID. I was the person that, during COVID, my clinic was like you could basically park in front of my clinic. You could see it was like Black Friday sales. People brought their chairs and sat down in long lines waiting to be seen. And my staff, I put everybody on hydroxychloroquine weekly, and then they started taking the vitamins, and we've pretty much done well. So, and I have learned a lot in the past 5 years that, we need to just not practice medicine and just allopathic medicine. I've started incorporating vitamins, naturopathic medicine, and I basically kept my patients doing very well. And I've not gotten sick. That's interesting for as many COVID patients that I saw.
That is interesting. I wonder if you lacked the ACE2 receptor or something. You just didn't, or if you had it was so mild, who knows?
Yeah, maybe I had it and it was mild, but guess what? I've never swiped for COVID either, so I don't know, but I've never really gotten sick. But Dr. Drew, I'm going to send you a top of COVID-Lite. You take that, and the next time you will not have the rhinorrhea. You actually just go through it.
Okay. Fair enough. Dr. Bhattacharya, speaking of the Great Barrington Declaration, was talking to Andrew Huberman, and he told a story I'd forgotten about how his medical freedom was severely limited. I know he was criticized, and he was subjected to a devastating takedown as quoted in the email Francis Collins to Fauci. But that he did a study, I think it was the Santa Clara study, where he was looking at COVID antibodies and sort of showing that it had already gone through the community. And he was called by the dean of this medical school in Stanford and told to redo the study. That the outcome was not what they preferred. Therefore, redo the study. And it's just like the thought that anyone could do that from an academic institution is just shocking. And now we have he's in the HHS, and now we have people clearing house on the vaccine safety committee. What do you think about that?
I'm so thankful. Okay, let me not say I'm thankful. Let me just say that is like a good start. We've been talking a lot about RFK. We supported RFK because we knew he was going to crack down on the vaccine, and then he went in there and has been dancing around it. They are still giving the mRNA technology, whatever. So now that is a good start. But my thing is, I want to see who they put in. I want to see who they replace them with, because that is important. We're glad that at least the NIH director is somebody that was kind of in the health freedom movement. But many other people that they put in there, they basically ignored the health freedom movement and people that were standing up. So I want to wait and see. I'm optimistic, but I'm cautiously optimistic that something good will happen, because like I said, it's great to make Fruit Loops great again, but there's a big elephant in the room, which is this mRNA vaccine, and we need to address that. And so far, I don't see them addressing it.
Make Fruit Loops great again. I had not heard that slogan, but I like it.
Make Fruit Loops great again.
Take out the red dot.
That's great.
Well, listen, here's what I'm going to do. I want to take a little break here. I've got Justin Gardner still sitting patiently by to talk about the
active skin repair
products, which I've got handy. I've been using diligently. I cling to this stuff. We'll talk about that after a few minutes.
And I want to know about the biological outbreak threat coming.
Yes, the Nipah virus thing coming.
Okay, I want to talk about that, and I want to get your opinion on biodefense and what you think biological attack possibilities are. So we'll sort of wrap up after the break with that conversation. All right, be right back with more Stella Immanuel. You got it. What's so special about Paleo Valley's grass-fed and finished bone broth and superfood bars? Well, everything. All are delicious, high in nutrients, low in calories, and contain nothing artificial. Co-founder Autumn Smith on what goes into every superfood bar.
So we have bone broth protein powder, and then we've added other superfoods, cashew butter, we have spirulina in there, acerola, broccoli powder, kale, blueberries. And so it really is kind of just an infusion of superfoods with every bite.
And then there's the extraordinary bone broth protein made with an ancestral approach that boosts our collagen intake.
Collagen is something that's gone by the wayside in our modern diet because we don't eat nose to tail anymore, but it was something we ate a lot of, and it has so many benefits. So if you have sagging skin, joint pain, gut issues, your decreased bone mineral density, slow to heal your wounds, slow recovery, these are all things that collagen can dramatically improve. If we're not giving our body the building blocks to produce it, we just age more rapidly. It also improves sleep, improves blood sugar control. So it's essentially like the Swiss Army knife of healthy aging.
Like I said, Paleo Valley's bone broth is something special. Make Paleo Valley part of your longevity regimen. Go to drdrew.com/Paleo Valley for 20% off when you subscribe and 15% off your first order. That is drdrew.com/Paleo Valley. The Wellness Company knows that taking charge of your family's healthcare is a top priority, and that's why they're constantly innovating to deliver the products and services to help you be rationally ready. Be sure to have the medical kit for kids on hand, whether you're a parent or grandparent. It treats 20 childhood conditions, including nausea and vomiting, allergies, asthma, inflammatory illnesses, even bioterror, God forbid. Listen, croup, ear infections, lice, it's all available in the pediatric emergency kit. You can also order the kids kit with an EpiPen should your child be at risk of anaphylaxis. And those EpiPens are carefully sourced and well priced relative to other EpiPens in the market. All 7 kits, each customized for a different purpose, come with a telemedicine consultation and a guidebook. Skip the scramble to an urgent care waiting room full of sick people and expense, or a pharmacy where there's no guarantee they'll have what you need. Go to drdrew.com/TWC for 10% off any medical emergency kit, or the supplements for that matter. That again is drdrew.com/TWC.
So I've traveled with my hyaluronic acid serum for my face, which I use every day. And we also brought along the active skin repair. Thank goodness, because I wounded myself. I'll show you the wound as we go. I don't want to pull the dressing up just yet. But the hypochlorous acid in this was used. I used it as an antibacterial. It's been proven as an antimicrobial. And the thing is healing beautifully, like better than ever. Like, it feels great. Here's a picture of what it looked like before I put the dressing on. I was delighted by the effects of the active skin repair. Hypochlorous acid is antimicrobial. It's been clinically proven, and this thing is healing well without difficulty. If you'd like some, go to dr.com/skin repair. I'm now free to enjoy my trip, not worry about infection, not worry about bleeding all over the place. This has been working beautifully, and I can get on and keep traveling.
Ask Dr. Drew.
I have no idea who Dr. Drew is.
He's been watching a lot of Dr. Drew lately.
Dr. Drew.
And Justin Gardner, the founder and creator of the skin repair skin repair products, is here. We're going to get a shot of Justin. He's been quietly waiting here while I have talked to my other guest. There he is. And I am very, very grateful because that wound healed perfectly well. And I use it for my face. We'll talk all about that. Susan, are you taking something for social media?
I thought he was going to say something.
Oh, go ahead and say. Well, we got to get into it. So relax, everybody. Let me finish with Dr. Stella Immanuel first. You can follow her on X, Dr. Stella MD, Dr. Stella MD. She is in Houston, and we were talking a little bit about Nipah virus for the break and other possible biological outbreaks. Dr. Immanuel, are you still there? Uh-oh.
She was.
I may get to Justin. She was there for a second. Here. I may get to Justin after all. Well, why don't I talk to Justin? We'll maybe do it. She froze, and she said there was bad problems with weather in Houston. So, all right, let's talk about Justin, and let's talk about active skin repair. Okay. So, how did you get into this business?
I don't know what happened.
Oh, wait, there's Stella back. Oh, damn. Yes. All right, so we'll get to it in a second.
Sure.
So we were talking about Nipah virus and possible biological weapons and bio attack preparedness.
Yes.
Tell me what you know.
So a week or so ago, I came across this document. Everybody remembers Event 201. They ran through how they were going to do with COVID, and then they went about it exactly the way they described it in Event 201. So they have this whole thing about, national biodefense, blueprint for biodefense. And they have like a whole thing about on July 4th, 2025, they were going to have a bio attack. It was going to kill hundreds of people, and it's going to be Nipah virus. Nipah virus is a zoonotic virus. Nipah virus kills 40% of its people. It's not a joke. And they are talking about Nipah virus. And Nipah virus does not jump from animal to human beings easily. But they said in this particular situation, their scenario is that where they have done a genetic modification of the Nipah virus so it can jump easily, and hundreds of thousands of people died. So when I saw it, I was a little concerned because I've seen this happen. We saw this happen with Event 201. So I started saying, number one, my whole thing, be prepared. Don't be scared. Nipah virus is an RNA virus. So is COVID, flu, and the rest. They are RNA viruses. RNA viruses are sensitive to zinc. But zinc needs a transport system to get into the cell. So that is where we've put together a slew of supplements. If you go on my website, drstellamd.com, you go to the shop, you will see supplements that have zinc transport system. So what I'm telling the American people is, number one, Get hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin into your medicine cabinet. Number 2, start taking supplements that have a zinc transport system like quercetin or elderberry. Build your immunity. Apart from that, the American people, our immunity has been messed up over the past 4-5 years with COVID, the vaccine, the shedding, and everything. So I'm saying if they bring this up, please be prepared. Or you get the new Omicron virus that is coming or anything else that is coming. What I'm trying to tell people is that we need to be prepared and not be scared, because if we just sit around and hope it doesn't happen, right now with all the riots, I've been talking about disruptive events that will bring their totalitarian power over the country. So I tell people, make sure that you get our vitamins. If you go to drstellamd.com, if you use promo code Dr. Drew, you will get a discount. But my thing is, please get hydroxychloroquine, get ivermectin in your medicine cabinet, get the vitamins, take them, put your children on gummies that has vitamin C, D, zinc, and elderberry. Make sure that everyone is strong and prepared, so that way, if this stuff gets released, you have a fighting chance. I don't know, and talk about it, scream about it, because if you scream about it enough, they might not do it. But I am kind of very concerned if they are showing us another drill of a biological attack that can destroy the nation. I'm very concerned about it.
Well, we may have, I hope we don't have to show this tape at some point in the future. But you said you packed a lot into that statement. And one thing you said was that the American people's immune system has been screwed with by the vaccines and the viruses and all these things. And one of the outcomes I think we're seeing is a decrease in natural killer function. And that could be the reason we're seeing some of the cancers or whatnot.
Yes.
I'm I'm looking for ways to enhance natural killer function. I know Dr. Patrick Soon-Shiong is out there. He has sort of a vaccine system. I think just plain old resveratrol. So look into that. Plain old resveratrol will increase natural killer cells. There's something you can do that has no downside.
Yeah, we have resveratrol in COVID Light. We have resveratrol. We have ginkgo biloba, CoQ10. We have things like elderberry. We have things like ginseng. Our COVID Light, everybody loves it. It takes away brain fog. It makes you feel strong. But it has a lot of things. It has pomegranate that helps you, clean up your blood vessels. So we put that together for people with COVID long symptoms. But we found out that it's a great thing to rebuild your immunity. I take COVID Light daily, and I've been taking it for the past 4 or 5 years. And that's probably one of the reasons why I've not really gotten sick. Even if I've had the virus, I've not had any symptoms. So I've never had to swipe myself for anything. So I tell people right now, build back your immunity. Resveratrol is very important. Yeah. We have it in the COVID Hevites. We have it in the COVID Light. And if you go to drstellamd.com, there's a tab there that says on our shop, that says vitamin supplements with zinc transport system. Everybody needs to be on one or the other. You know what I'm saying? Put your kids on it. Everybody get on it. And like I said, if you use promo code Dr. Drew, you get a discount. So please get prepared.
So Stella, I've never seen Nipah virus. Have you ever treated it? That's one I've
we've not seen it.
I've seen a lot of stuff.
Common.
Yeah.
It's not a common virus. It's a zoonotic virus. Happens mostly in the Asian, Indian area. And it doesn't even occur in human beings that often. But when it does, it actually kills 40 to 80% of the people that it infects. But it does not jump from animal to humans that easily. But in this case scenario, they actually talked about Nipah virus being genetically modified to be able to transmit very fast and still maintaining its over 40% kill rate. And they talked about hundreds of thousands of people dying. So this to me, like I say, is scary. Like you said, Dr. Drew, I hope nobody ever has to play this video again and say they should have listened. But I think everybody should listen right now and tell as many people as possible, because the more we talk about it, the less likely they will pull up something crazy over us again.
And who do you imagine, when in talking about this, who did they imagine would alter the virus in such a way to give it these killer capabilities? Or these
I don't know.
Infectious capabilities, really. It's already a killer.
We do have a lot of, we know about gain of function studies. In fact, the FBI just arrested 2 Chinese operatives in Detroit that trying to, do biological weapons in America. So we don't know, but we don't know who is doing it. But I know, like, if you were to ask me who actually did the gain of function studies for COVID, which they are still denying they did, So my thing to the American people is that we need to just be prepared. Once bitten, twice shy. I don't want to have to stand in front of people again and be screaming that, you need to do something for yourself. But every American family need to have hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin in their medicine cabinet. That is the minimum. And then get on multivitamins. There are people that are taking, you remember late Dr. Zelenko, I worked with him. He has the Z-Stack. If you're taking Z-Stack, that's fine. Go ahead and continue taking it. If you're taking it, you understand, or you go on our website, get one of the vitamins. Just please be prepared. That is all I'm saying. Don't wait till something crazy happens. America, build back your immune system. Make sure that you're in a position where if something crazy happens, you can stand. That's all I'm saying. And even our children, we have gummies that has vitamin C, D, zinc, and elderberry. Elderberry is a good ionophore that allows zinc to enter into the body, into the system. So please, there are studies in NIH. There are many studies. If you can just Google zinc and viruses, and you will see it. Most RNA viruses can be mitigated with zinc. Just please get something. Help yourself.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So I took the Zelenko protocol, zinc, and of course, what he had in his thing, because we were friends with him, and he was one of our sponsors, I guess you would say. Mm-hmm. And but I found that taking the gummies was better for me because I just got kind of a tummy ache from the amount of zinc. He had a lot of zinc in his protocol. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what your level of zinc is in your supplements, but I do recommend taking the kids' gummies if that's a problem.
Yeah, we don't have. Yes, go ahead. We actually don't have.
I was going to say, yeah.
We don't have as much zinc in ours because if you're taking a zinc supplement and it's causing tummy ache, you're taking too much of it. You don't need to take that much zinc to have that effect. Yeah, and moreover, the food that we eat already has zinc. So taking the zinc ionophores
affecting copper metabolism, it's concerning. So finally, it was old friend Amber Rose who referred you to us. How did you two get together?
Actually, I connected with Amber Rose through a friend called Ivan. So Ivan knows all kinds of people. So he's the one that connected us. And I was like, I've been wanting to talk to Dr. Drew since all this happened,
Well, and she grabbed me on or DM'd me on something, and I was like, well, of course, I'll talk to Stella. I admired the way you stood tall during all the criticism, and my one consistent position has been, I have my own opinions about what works and what doesn't work, and and I'd like to see more data on these things, even though the data was not forthcoming. But I will go to the mat to defend yours and our peers' ability to do what they need to do on behalf of their patients if they think it's the right thing to do, period. You get in the way of that, and that is a sacred relationship, and you need to be able to do whatever it is in your judgment is the best interest of the patient at all times, period, end. And if there's something that needs further assessment, that's up to the professional societies, not up to anybody else, and certainly not up to the FDA or the CDC or the U.S. government.
Yeah, I mean, Dr. Drew, can you imagine taking care of a diabetic patient that is 84, an 84-year-old diabetic, high blood pressure? You give them medicine and they do better and they do well, and then you tell your doctor friends that this works, and then they attack you. By 2020, when we're going to the Supreme Court, I could not even handle it. You could actually just walk through any city and just see big billboards about 5,000 people infected, 2,500 died. And I knew COVID was treatable because I have seen, Medscape did an article about me that I was the highest prescriber of hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin in the nation, which is cool because we had about almost 40 doctors and NPs working with us at that time. But I knew this worked. I knew people didn't have to die. So I could not handle it. I just had to scream. By the time I got to DC, I was like, well, if they kill me, so be it. I can't just sit around and let people die. And thank God that everybody woke up. People woke up and started saying, no, we cannot do this. We sent our protocol all over the world. We sent our protocol. Doctors called me all over the place. We sent our protocol, and people were like, you know what? We need to stand. And I'm thankful that the American people woke up. So people are not just ready to turn their shoulder and get the next jab that they want to stick them with. People are knowing, they've known better now.
Well, I appreciate your courage, and I appreciate what you do on behalf of patients, and that you did the care of the patients, which was rarely done during COVID, and that you were willing to spend some time with us today. So please thank Amber if you see her before I hear anything from her on social media. But we appreciate you being here.
I have another question.
Oh wait, no.
Sure.
Dr. Stella, there are rumors that there's going to be an unleashing of a biological warfare again on the 14th of June.
We just talked about that.
Right, but
No. There's something coming on the 14th of June. They are talking about in fact, if you look at it, they say they're going to have like riots all over the country on the 14th of June, and they might release the biological warfare at that time. Because actually, the whole thing about the defense, the national blueprint actually said that it had been released several weeks before 4th of July. So that is why I'm like screaming from the rooftop, like, America, wake up, get prepared now. And just, and don't let them push us back into some lockdown and crazy stuff, masks.
Yeah,
like I
agree.
Mm-hmm. The mask is like wearing those face diapers to filter COVID. It's like putting on a chain link fence to filter a mosquito. It doesn't make sense. That's not science.
Yep.
But
Yep. It didn't make sense. It didn't make sense.
I agree. And also we have a connection with, if you want to get ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine, you can go to drdrew.com/TWC and get the COVID emergency kit. That's a really good one to be prepared.
We were talking to, was it on this show or was I just talking to somebody whose wife is a physician? It was Alex Stein, and he said, she had to go get fitted for an N95 in the early days of COVID, and they would put it, they'd tightly seal it, have to be carefully fitted, and then they had all these sprays they pushed at it to make sure that nothing got through and if you want to have a mask, that's what you have to do to have a useful mask, and you have to wear it at all times, and never take it off. Otherwise, completely ineffective. So there we go. That's the world we lived in. As you said,
masks actually infect people because they touch it and they fiddle with it and they touch other things. When I see people with masks going through Walmart, I kind of stay away from them because they are touching their spit and touching the food, and that's just crazy.
Well, we spoke to an environmental engineer who felt that the streams that were coming out along the nasolabial fold and possibly on the outside of the mask were actually accelerating the distance that virus was able to propagate if it was aerosolized virus. And so it's like, there we go.
I mean,
thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it.
All right.
We did stupid stuff. That's true. We did stupid stuff.
Yes. It was awesome.
You got it.
All right. God bless.
Thank you, ma'am. See you soon. All right. Now we're going to go to my third guest.
Get your ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine at drdrew.com/TWC.
And we're going to speak with
I had to plug them. If you're going to buy it there.
I'm going to go to Justin Gardner, and he has the active skin repair spray and the moisturizing skin repair face and body hydrating serum, which I'm so grateful for. So tell me how you got into this business.
Oh, thanks for having me on, Dr.
You betcha. You've been very kind to sit and wait while I talk to other people.
Of course, it was entertaining. The path was kind of an interesting path. I worked in regenerative medicine, more on the commercial side, but was helping launch a bunch of products into the hospital side.
Regenerative meaning?
So we did a lot in bioengineered dermal skin substitutes. So if you had somebody with vascularity issues, so diabetes, who couldn't heal diabetic wounds, we'd be able to bioengineer with fibroblasts onto a bioabsorbable mesh, put it onto that wound.
The patient's own fibroblasts?
No. It actually came from a neonatal foreskin.
Oh, wow.
But they're really expensive to do that, and very, very cool science behind it. But again,
so it's a skin graft, essentially.
Skin graft, yes. Yeah. And so I was helping launch a bunch of those products into the hospital space. And that's when a medical device company came to me with this molecule, hyperchlorous acid, and said, we want to launch this into the hospital side. Unlike the bioengineered skin substitutes that are thousands of dollars, this was at a much more digestible price point. And unlike those products, this also had FDA clearance for over-the-counter use. And
so I'm going to stay with the hospital use. Yeah. It was there, had a track record as an antibacterial then?
Yeah, antimicrobial. So antibacterial, antimicrobial.
And so antiviral also, or?
Mainly for, at the hospital side, it was being used, especially in vascular compromised patients where you get a colonization of bacteria, the wounds would stall. So you put this on before to be able to eliminate that bacterial biofilms you get. So that colonization.
For the biofilms. Okay, got it.
And then the bioengineered skin substitutes, sometimes you could heal them like that. And if not, then they would work much better. But also in intensive care burn units. So if somebody was severely burned, to prevent from infection, also in neonatal ICUs. So it's a whole bunch of different skin wound issues.
Okay. And so they're using it as an antibacterial, antimicrobial, as you said, for really complicated wounds, essentially.
Complicated wounds, burns, yes.
Yeah, so it's inadequate vascular supply or complicated by burn or biofilm that's not clearing or integrating properly. I don't know what the language would be. And then you thought, it's approved for over the counter. Maybe we should do this.
It was kind of and they just said, well, we want to focus on the hospital side. We think that's where, the business is. And to me, I had started to give it out to all my friends and family, and I could see people just became evangelical about it.
Right.
And
I get that. I totally get it.
And when we started to joke, we called it the WD-40 skin repair. You just put it on sunburn, bug bites. It didn't have to be serious.
No, right. Our own personal experience was infant with prevented diaper rash. It prevented any kind of irritation from diaper, it seemed like. My wound, my face, this is, which said a different issue, which is, we'll talk about that in a second. But it's pretty extraordinary. I'm sure you're hearing from us what you heard from family and friends.
And it's cool because it's really powerful, but simple science. We're replicating the same molecule that your white blood cells produce. So the way that your body's immune system is working internally, you're able to use our spray or our gel and apply topically the same way your body works internally. And that, it can work on those really serious issues, but it works amazing on all the everyday issues.
So this is just a curiosity question. I've heard the same thing, the same mechanism in terms of produced by your own cells idea, used in relation to chlorine dioxide. Are you familiar with that product?
I'm not, no.
It's different. It's, for some reason, it's steeped in controversy. So I've been reluctant to dig in deep, but they claim similar kinds of things. And when you came up with this, I thought, well, this looks a lot more, what's the word? Less irritating and sort of benign. It doesn't burn, doesn't irritate, doesn't anything, and yet it works.
Right.
So it beats Bactine because Bactine stings.
And this is well studied. Hypochlorous acid and what's our active ingredient in active skin repair. Over 100 peer-reviewed clinical articles on it. I mean, just a ton.
In the hospital.
In the hospital side, in dermatological side, it's looked at on the aesthetic side for post-procedure on aesthetic procedures, but also on things like atopic dermatitis. It's been studied for eczema and flare-ups.
So to that point, Caleb has a transformation on his. Look at the picture.
Oh yeah, I'm going to put up the picture because
nail beds.
It's pretty. It's pretty incredible. Let me pull up the picture here. Now
can I speak about your other treatments and things? Why you're probably set up for this?
Yeah.
So he is on biological. He's on Humira or something, and she has chronic, Crohn's, and has to be on immunosuppressives or biological agents. And he'd be set up for various kinds of sort of odd skin infections. And it looked to me, put this picture up.
Yeah, look at this.
Like he may have got a little fungus going here. And I'm
sorry to anyone who's grossed out by it. It's pretty gross. This is what my thumb has looked like. My wife has never, my wife and I have been married almost 10 years, and she's always seen my skin looks like this. This is just normal. So this was day one. And so then a couple days.
So hold on. So hang on. So you see the kind of cracking, put it back. And then the spooning of the nail bed, the nail itself, there's a little spooning there. So all that kind of smacks of fungus for me. And so this has antifungal property too, correct?
It's an antimicrobial, so antibacterial, antifungal, and antiviral.
So here he is. He applies it. He tries it.
2 days.
And they go, starts
2 days
healing
later.
In 2 days. What the hell?
And then
you've tried many other things.
Oh, I've tried everything. Cortisone, everything from cortisones to I've gone to dermatologists to everything to try and get, and this is like most of my fingers look like this, but then I've been putting on once a day active skin repair on my thumb, and this is what it looks like this morning. It's the only thing that has ever made
thumb.
It looks like somebody else's thumb. So it went from this normal to this. This is what it's looking like now. So I'm very impressed.
It will also give you pigment.
Exactly. Well, I was in the sun. Yeah. So that's probably why it looks a little, but these are totally unedited. Like this is legit stuff.
I just think it's shitty. Not a good picture. It's all. It's just different.
And so Caleb's example is we have over 5,000, actually like 8,000 Amazon reviews. And it's amazing to see all the different ways that our product can work on all these different skin issues. One of the things I always say too, especially if you're looking for non-toxic alternatives, our product's completely non-toxic.
Oh my God, I almost want to call it inert, but it can't be inert really because it's too effective.
Same safety profile as saline solution. So you can spray it around your eyes, ears, mouth, so you have something that kills 99% of bacterial funguses.
Do you ever develop an eye drop or anything?
They use it in optometry.
Yeah, but I'm not telling people to do it. I want to be very careful.
Around your eyes. It's
but
totally safe
maybe you said you were going to develop new products, Maybe there's an eye drop in there.
Yeah, and you can read, and people use it all the time for things that we would never even thought about.
Really? And then this is a little bit different. This has hyaluronic acid. This is the stuff I love.
Yeah. So
what led you to do that? To me, to put a moisturizing agent together with the hyaluronic acid was genius, in my opinion.
So one of the things we get a lot with hyperchlorous acid, especially when you're using it for everyday skin issues like eczema or acne or things of that nature, it can be a little drying. And so we wanted to develop something that was hydrating and could help host the active skin repair spray or gel. And so we developed this, and it's a really clean, hydrating solution, EWG verified, meaning all the ingredients have been validated as very clean and safe to use. And so it works great in conjunction with a hyperchlorous acid or alone as an everyday hydrating serum.
Does it have hypochlorous acid in it, or it does
not have hypochlorous acid?
Oh, okay. So it's just hydrating serum. Got it. Well, I told you I cannot use anything that covers my pores ordinarily. Any cream of any type, any ointment of any type, I get cysts, I get irritated. It's a mess. This, the opposite. It sort of smooths everything out.
That's awesome.
I don't know why. My instinct is that it has something to do with the addition of the hyaluronic with the lighter serum.
Yeah.
That somehow my pores stay open or something so they can kind of breathe. And
I think just clean, high quality ingredients, which is what
I've had some. I've had to wear makeup so much on television and whatnot and I have wrecked everything. And I always say everything. I mean everything. Handmade, organic, blah blah blah. Yeah. I've even had consultants that put together makeup for burn patients. Try that. No, nothing. If it covers my pore, no good. Whatever. Anything. And loose powder, I can use that because it doesn't cover. Even that will irritate a little bit, but this is my other thing. So you had some other new products you were contemplating. Tell me about that.
Well, we have sunscreens coming out. So we're really excited, and all of them will have hyaluronic acid in them as well.
I like that.
We're trying to create.
Now, what's the thinking there? It's all working for me, but what are you thinking when you do that?
Well, if you go into sunscreens, there's a lot of bad sunscreens out there with that are chemical based. So we wanted to create a really clean.
But what is the hyaluronic acid? What are you thinking of doing when you add that to a product?
Well, we want the hydration. So we, one of the things.
Because I think about it as a desquamating sort of product.
Hydrating, good for skin health.
So hyaluronic is good for hydration.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not used to thinking of it that way.
Instead of just having a sunscreen that protects you from the sun, which is obviously great, but also be able to create something that can be used daily for just everyday skin health as well. So you get kind of that multifunctional component that we also
put a sunscreen in this, and it'll be because I'm putting that on. So why not protect my face also from the UV?
Yeah, exactly. And what we wanted to do was just create a handful of really good products instead of 50 different SKUs. We wanted just a few core ones that could work in a million different ways.
I completely understand that. When I was designing some supplement, I was like, I can't stand these supplements where they put 5, 10, 20 things in. Yeah. That means nothing works. That's why you're throwing everything in here. I want 1 or 2 things that I know work, and that's it. So otherwise, what are we doing here? People can go to Active Skin Repair on Instagram at Active Skin Repair and doctor.com/skin repair. There it is up there for products. Besides the sort of UV protection and maybe some eye drops, any other ideas coming down the road?
The last one's a baby balm. So the thing with our Active Skin Repair, and we have a baby spray, and it's same as our regular spray, but we get asked all the time, especially in pediatric skin conditions, is it safe to use? And at 100%.
You just label it baby.
You just
so
label
people
it
feel
baby,
comfortable.
So they feel comfortable.
So good.
But every day, I mean, if you have a young kid, if you have a kid, the diaper rashes, the baby.
No, our granddaughter hates diapers, hates them. And the slightest little thing, which she gets, and the Skin Repair keeps her controlled. Occasionally she gets an irritation and they'll put on a thicker cream at that point. Is that what you're talking about? A thicker?
So this works great, especially if there's any bacterial issues that are causing that irritation. This works great. And then we're going to develop a balm that you can put on top of it. But any balm right now, like a good baby balm or paste.
These pastes. When our kids were little, we didn't have those necessarily. It was just sort of, there was a cream. What was the cream? Destin. We use Destin all the time. And these balms look better.
Right? Like the paste, they're usually zinc based and you're just creating a barrier. But what we recommend is to use our spray. And so you're helping address the inflammation of bacteria. You're helping prevent diaper rash. But if it does exist, you're helping to facilitate that natural healing of it. And then you can put the paste on top.
Got it.
Yes.
Susan, do you have any questions for Justin while we got him here? Because I know this is our jam.
I am just so happy your skin looks so good. And I used it on my skin after I had a PRP vampire facial, where they use microneedling and they poke your face, and then you kind of get a little bit of irritation for a few days. And I used it on there, the hyaluronic acid serum, and it just made it feel so much better. So I'm totally sold. And it wasn't super expensive. Like usually they'll give you this tiny little bottle that's $250 to put on top of your face after you have a procedure.
Could she use this also?
That's what I used.
Oh,
I used
this?
that.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
And it's so affordable. I bought it on Amazon, but we want you to go to doctor.com/skin repair to buy it if you're going to buy it from us. So.
Yep. And there should be a Dr. Drew coupon code through ours.
Fantastic.
That gets you a discount over there. So,
do you want people to follow you personally to give your social media handles out there, or just stay with Skin Repair on Active Skin Repair?
Skinrepair.com.
All right, fair enough. Is there anything else what is it? Instagram. So follow everybody at Active Skin Repair.
And also, did you get that picture of my adorable granddaughter, Caleb, that I sent?
We had one up there a second ago.
No, I sent him a new one.
I think that was the one he put up there, maybe.
I hope so.
I don't know. He's hearing me now talk about it.
The baby bottom thing is good. And also, when she had acne, because she got the baby acne, they used it on her face. And did we lose Caleb?
Here, Susan, look at that. There it is. Is that the picture?
No, but that's a cute one too.
It's good enough.
She loves it.
And Caleb uses it on his kids as well as on his fingernails. So
I know, that's so crazy.
Yeah.
Well, listen,
many uses.
It's nice when we can be enthusiastic about products that we really actually use and can stand
And Drew's
behind.
a big fan of sunscreen because he has skin cancer in his family, and
I burn really easily.
And if you can use that as instead of the hyaluronic acid in the morning and just slap it on
with a SPF. What are you thinking? A 30 or 50? What are you going to put in there?
We're going to do a few different, but the first one coming out is going to be a 50.
Good.
Get it as soon as you let me know as soon as you have
Emily,
because the one thing I don't do that I'm supposed to do. Oh yeah, there's a dog issue in here too. Emily's dog. Tell us about that.
Emily wanted to note she uses it on her dog skin as well.
Yeah. With dogs, it's so good too, because if they have hot spots, a lot of times they'll lick it.
Oh, yeah.
And you do not want to put anything toxic on a pet because they'll lick it and it can actually ingest. And so our product's amazing for things like hot spots. We get that all the time.
Well, Justin, we appreciate you visiting us. We appreciate you having confidence in us using your products and talking about your products because they are easy to get behind. They are truly. It just seems like this should be. I mean, the fact that there is a thing called Bactine out there anymore bothers me. This should be that. You know what I mean? People should understand to reach for this instead of these old brands.
We're growing fast.
All right, good.
We're working on it.
You should. Congratulations. That's good.
Anyway, stock up for the summer. It's great on mosquito bites too. I tried it there.
Yep. And sunburns. So I remember the reason I freaked out so badly, first of all, I used this on the sunburn, and then I got the peeling, and that's when I wanted this.
Yeah, it immediately took the itchiness away from the mosquito bite. I know you're going to say it works because I know it works. I tried it.
All right, so let me review, if you guys don't mind. We've had a lot of guests today. Alex Villanueva, you can follow him on X, Alex Villa with one L, VILANUEVA 33. And Dr. Stella, did she say it's drstellamd.com? Yes, and she's also on X.
I went to drstella.com and it wasn't the same woman.
Good.
Totally different
Stella
nationality.
Immanuel, IMMANUEL. And thank you to Amber Rose for sending her our way. And then again,
now we got to get Amber Rose on.
We'll work on it with through Stella. Maybe Emily, I'm sure, is listening on this. She can work on that. Active Skin Repair on X at Active, right? It's X and Instagram, correct?
Just Instagram. Active Skin Repair on Instagram.
I've got it on X also. And again, dr.com/skin repair. And we're going to leave Justin alone so he doesn't get inundated by all you guys. Let me quickly why don't you throw up Caleb, upcoming guest, while I look at the restream and whatnot, what's going on here. Tomorrow, Brian O'Shea has some interesting ideas about where some of this stuff is being organized. Again, we heard today from two different people with two different ideas. Brian O'Shea has another one. DC Drano in here. Salty Cracker on Thursday. Mark Jankizi is the astrophysicist, cognitive psychologist who really alerted me to mass formation and social ill, how social ill gets done. Sam Cooper W. Lehrman, the Danish physician researcher Vibeke, I can never pronounce her name, I'll try to learn it. She has another study that was excellent, vaccine study that had trouble getting published, of course. She was the one that discovered that the batches can make a difference in terms of potential side effects, and we should be paying attention. Sasha Latipova then confirmed that the manufacturing process was a bit off. And then Professor Sam Vaknin, I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. If you saw him speaking to Michael Schallenberger, he is also a physicist, but he's also a psychologist. And he has come up with this idea that that these basic personality trends of humans through history, that originally we started with psychotic personality styles, where hearing things and seeing things was just part of religious experience, and people weren't pathologized for that. Then we went into a narcissistic phase with the Enlightenment and the preoccupation around individualism, and now we're going into borderline. And I'm going to dig in deep with him about that. So we got a lot coming up. It's going to be very interesting. We appreciate our guests. We appreciate you all. I'm looking at the Rumble rants to see if there's anything, Susan, did anything come up on the rants that you noticed? Anything in the restream?
We're talking about Gary Busey.
What about Gary?
That he's funny.
Gary's the best.
Have you ever seen him talking about buttered sausage? That's funny too.
I have not, but let's all, again, Gary was involved in a really serious motorcycle accident.
No, he's funny though.
Crushed his right frontal lobe.
Funny.
And he's funny and he's lovely and he's incredibly talented.
I know.
And he has recovered from all that, but is left with some of the things that people make fun of him for related to that. He is funny. He's always been funny. He told me that the end of the Buddy Holly story, which is this extraordinary performance, you've ever seen it, where the crowd goes absolutely crazy at his performance. That, he told me, he just went out there and did it in one take, and that was the audience's spontaneous reaction to what he had done. And that's how they finished that movie. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
No.
Susan? No? It's worth visiting what an incredible job he did in that film, but particularly that last scene where he I forget the song he sang, but it's a classic Buddy Holly thing, and he became him. He became Buddy Holly for a couple minutes. All right, everybody.
That's true.
We appreciate you being here. Appreciate our guest. Justin, thank you for sitting through all that and for kindly joining us here. Appreciate you bringing him. And we will see you all. Let me double check my timing. Tomorrow at 2 o'clock, DC Drano and Brian O'Shea. See you then.
Get that active skin repair.
Ask Dr. Drew is produced by Caleb Nation and Susan Pinsky. As a reminder, the discussions here are not a substitute for medical care, diagnosis, or treatment. This show is intended for educational and informational purposes only.
I am a licensed physician, but I am not a replacement for your personal doctor, and I am not practicing medicine here. Always remember that our understanding of medicine and science is constantly evolving. Though my opinion is based on the information that is available to me today, some of the contents of this show could be outdated in the future. Be sure to check with trusted resources in case any of the information has been updated since this was published. If you or someone you know is in immediate danger, don't call me, call 911. If you're feeling hopeless or suicidal, call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 800-273-8255. You can find more of my recommended organizations and helpful resources at drdrew.com/help.